second annual NBK draft party in Atlantic City. There'll be a live podcast, live DJ, live video shoot. $40 for a VIP ticket, $30 for draft night only. Get your tickets now.
Salute, family. My name is Stephanie. I'm your host of the Queen's Court. We're here every Monday around 8 p.m. to break down the storylines as they relate to our New York Knicks. Today, we'll be talking about center prospects in the draft, those that may be available at the 11th pick, those that may be available if the Knicks choose to move down, and then also some second-round options. I'm joined today by Josh, a.k.a. Uncle Julio, in the house today, gracing us with his presence. Tony Crow from Knicks and Bruises, and Stafford Don is in the house. Hello, fellas. How are you?
Salute. What's going on, Queen? Tony, Stafford Don.
Peace, Queen.
Happy to be here. Let's do it.
Stafford, Josh.
You already know it's always a blessing to be here, Queen. You know, big dogs, TC and Josh. It's always a pleasure to be on the panel with y'all boys. Let's get it in.
Let's do it.
Yeah, all right. Well, before we start, just any thoughts overall on the Knicks drafting a power forward and a center before we get into specifics? Do you think that best player on the board, regardless of position, do you think it's something the Knicks should stay away from? What's your overall thoughts on that position in the draft?
Yeah. Well, after top three, you know, I don't think at that 11th spot, I don't think best player on the board will be a power forward. But if it happens to be, I'll be honest. I'm gonna say I'm for the Knicks actually moving down, acquiring an asset, and getting some position of need with that still high upside, and you know what I mean. So that would be me personally.
Okay, Josh.
Yeah, so I mean, listen, I think it's still best player available. I think the Knicks are still in that mode. I think if you have an opportunity to draft someone who you think is going to be a star in the league, which I think at 11 is a possibility that a couple of those guys are going to be there. Talking specifically about Johnny Davis and Benedict Mathurin, you draft those guys because they have star potential, and you need to have a star in order to win in this league. However, if the Knicks decide they want to get a versatile big, I think that is just as much as they need as anything else on the roster. A versatile big that can be able to defend multiple positions and that can be able to do some things offensively, you know, as far as scoring prowess, things of that nature. So, you know, I still think it's best player available, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks, you know, draft a big that's versatile that can be able to defend 5s, 4s, and 3s.
Right. I mean, this is a wing-heavy draft. The best players are mostly wings. If I'm hearing you correctly, Josh, if those wing players aren't available, then if you need to do a draft a power forward, a versatile big, a center, that's fine, but not over a wing.
Well, there's going to be wings no matter what. There's going to be wings there, but there needs to be a wing that you think that the front office believes has star potential. And I think if that guy is not there, then I would lean towards getting you know, a big that is much more versatile that can either replace Mitchell Robinson or out the gate, you know, be a good rotation player that can go in and back up whoever the starting center is going to be.
Well, when you say big, are you just saying big in general, or like Queen asked specifically power forward?
Because big in general, a big that can defend multiple positions.
Because if it is, even if it's a power forward that can defend multiple positions, even as much as I like some of those guys, I don't know if we don't think Tibbs is going to play small ball. So unless it's a versatile big, as in a guy who can actually, you know what I mean, it don't matter the lineup, he could guard the center. You know, then that's where my concern is with some of those fours that could possibly play the 5, because it's going to be a small ball 5, and you know, maybe Tibbs changes his tune based off of these guys' skill set, defensive skill sets, but I think that the chances are slim that, you know, we play small ball.
Well, I think that's a little bit of a misnomer, because in Chicago, Joakim Noah wasn't the biggest guy in the world. Joakim Noah was 6'8", 6'9". So I think Tibbs would be comfortable playing someone that's 6'8", 6'9" at the center position, as long as the defensive prowess is there. And Joakim Noah was a really good pick and roll defender. Joakim Noah was a rim protector, even though he was 6'9", right?
6'11".
I don't think it was that he was that tall, but either way, regardless, I think that Tibbs will be open to doing something like that, as long as the rim protection is there, because there's guys that are 6'9" that can be able to block shots, and that we're going to potentially be talking about here shortly. So I think that option is still on the table there, and I think in the era of positionless basketball, to go back to that theme, I think that even if we have an Obi and a Randall on the roster, you can draft a power forward that can get rotation minutes by sliding him in the 5 as a backup. And then this is just a backup position, until we got to figure out who our starting center is going to be. But in the backup 5 role, I believe that whoever this power forward if we do draft one, will get significant minutes if he's versatile defensively.
Stafford, any thoughts on drafting a big power forward or center in this draft, or you think we should just stay away from it altogether if possible?
Me personally, the 2 best centers in the first round in the lotteries is basically Durant and Mark Williams.
Right.
I see if we don't get any of those 2, if Mitchell Robinson or not to sign back, I agree with TC. I will trade down and get some more assets and build with that. To me, drafting another power forward, it wouldn't make any sense because we already have Randall, we already have Obi. So in that sense, I wouldn't draft a power forward. But to Josh's point also too, if he's very versatile and gives you different dimensions, I wouldn't per se, I wouldn't mind doing it, but he would have to be skilled. He would have to bring something to the table that we could use like right now. Beating out Obi or even beating out probably even Randall. And if that's the case, trade Randall. If that player is going to come in and make that significant jump, but I doubt it. I doubt we probably might draft a center or a power forward, especially in the first round.
This is what I will say. I'm not sure about, for example, power forward. I'm not sure about Eason or who was the other one, Sohan, playing backup center. Can they? Yeah, I think they can. I think, I don't, depending on who the centers are, I think they can do it. To Josh's point, Tibbs doesn't like to do it because who are you doing it with? You're doing it with Randall, you're doing it with, Obi, maybe not great defenders. He might be a little more open with an Eason or Sohan because they are better defenders. Don't rule out this power forward being put it this way. There's a multiple ways the Knicks can go. Don't rule out this power forward backing up Randall and Obi being moved. Don't rule out Randall being moved and it's Obi and this power forward. I think every chip is on the table right now for the New York Knicks. And I think they're looking at our roster as a whole. And I don't think they're pigeonholing themselves like, oh, we can't do this because we got that. We can't do this because we got that. What's the best way to construct this roster going forward? And I think that's the way they're looking at it. So how I want to proceed, Salute Ron, is I want to pull up the 2 centers that's going to be available at that spot. And instead of doing it individually for time's sake, just going to do the pluses and minuses of both of them for those that may not be familiar with them, and then talk about who would you prefer at that spot. So let's start with Jalen Duren, center out of Memphis, 6'11", 250 pounds. He's 18 years old. And so I'm interested in the panel if that makes a difference to you guys. 12 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, shot almost 60% from the field, doesn't stretch the floor, didn't hit a 3, 62.5% from the free throw line. Lob, vertical threat, good rebounder, very good offensive rebounder as well. If we think about, if we lose Mitch, can defend on the perimeter on switches some, converts inside, explosive. Post game needs everything offensively needs to improve. His post game, his shooting, his free throws, his feel for the game, playmaking. He's a traditional big man in an era of multifaceted bigs, which doesn't mean that he can't develop the offense going forward. But in terms of right now, this is what I see. And you guys can add to this as well. Let me just pull up the next one and then we'll talk about both of them in tandem. Mark Williams, center out of Duke, 7'2, 242 pounds, 20 years old. So 2 years older than Doran, if that makes a difference to some. 11.2 points, 7.4 rebounds, 2.8 blocks, 66.4% from the field. Also doesn't stretch the floor, at least at this point in his development. 72.7% from the free throw line, which means there's some potential there as far as shooting is concerned. A lob vertical threat still, right? So if we lose Mitch, he does get playing time. We can still run those plays. Rim protector, blocks, and alter shot. Good defensive awareness. Free throws, obviously, has a great touch around the basket. Good footwork. Defends the pick and roll some. Maybe not as well as Doran, but good enough. He has shooting inside, upside. Improvement areas is his limited range, only 1 3-point attempt, doesn't get to the line a lot, needs to develop a post up game. So I'm going to bring the panel back in the chat. You can hop in on this as well. If both of those guys are available, and there's a possibility that all of the wings that we're looking at, except for Branham, would probably maybe gone in the top 10, the top ones we're looking at. And in that case, both Mark Williams and Durham would be available. If you were interested in a center, which one of these would you draft and why? Josh?
So I would prefer Duran, just from the clips that I've seen of him. I know he is, basically the prototype, the traditional big man, but I do see a little bit more athletic upside with Duran than I do Williams. I do see a little bit more of that. But to be honest, both of them are the same. And I know Tony's going to hate me for this, but both of them are the same, limited offensive guys that Mitch is, right? And I think we need to have someone that's a little bit more versatile on the offensive side of it. Also, I think Duran is a little bit the pick and roll defense. I think it's very, very important, being able to defend pick and roll, switching off the pick and roll, and knowing when to hedge, knowing when to fall back. I think that's important too. But offensively, we just need someone that can be able to do something offensively, throw the ball down low, be able to get something, on the inside, in the post or something like that. And I think both of these guys are so limited that it's basically bringing the Mitchell Robinson all over again and, working with that kind of player. So I'm just not a fan of either of these guys. And I don't think the Knicks are going to draft either of these guys. But if I had to pick one, I want to pick Duran over Williams.
Okay. Again, my preference would be if those are our options and we're going that route, and if we can move back 2 spots, we know we're gonna get one of them, right? So I would do that. If I'm choosing between the two, I give 2 scenarios. If we're building long term for the future, not trying to rely on this guy heavy immediately, I'm going Duran. If we're filling in Mitch's role and somebody that immediately is going to have the same impact as Mitch, then I'm going Williams. And he may even take it even further as far as the impact goes, because the kid can hit his free throws. Duran has those same free throw concerns, but we're talking about an 18-year-old who, it may take him 2 years to get his free throw rhythm down, to get to develop a jump shot and things of that nature. Whereas Williams, he doesn't shoot them, but he shoots free throws at a very high clip or a very good percentage, which tells me if he has to put it up, I'm not gonna be worried about it. You know what I mean? Like, at least it'll be on target, and he'll probably, I think he took 1 3, right? Or was that Duran that took 1 3? He took one, he missed it, whatever. But at least we know he'll put it up there.
And his pro day, he took a lot of threes too, from what I understand.
Okay.
And was hitting them.
Okay, but yeah, so again, if we're talking about like we're trying to not miss a beat because we're about to lose Mitch, I'm going Williams. If it's for the long term and we're gonna do some developing and kind of maybe even like if I'm banking on one of them being a star or the better player, it's probably Duran, but it's gonna take longer.
What makes you think it's going to take longer for Doran than Williams because he played? Because he's older.
Well, I think Williams it won't take as long because he's older, a little bit more developed, and then that free throw shooting gives us a dynamic that we haven't had at the center position. You know what I mean? Where Duran, he may come in and still do well, but that the free throws is still going to be a issue that we've dealt with.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then he has some limitations and things that he has to grow in. But at 18, you know what I mean? Like you gotta weigh those things too. You know what I mean? Like I am of the perception that all right, this guy's 18. He's gonna get better at 19. He's gonna get better at 20. Where will he be at 20 compared to Williams now? He may be better than Williams at 20 years old, but I think it's gonna take him that year or two to get to his real strengths.
I mean, before I get to Stafford, what I'll say is both of them are projects. Both of them will need to develop. I'm not sure. I mean, statistically, yeah, I think either one of them can come in and get 8 points and 8 rebounds. In their freshman year. But I think Mitch though has learned this, the defensive schemes, how to play in the NBA, how to stay out of foul trouble, those sort of things. So I think those nuances, it will take them some time to learn that. But in terms of like just raw statistics, I believe either one of them can get 8 points and 8 rebounds and a block a game. They'll fall out. Will they fall out? A lot probably. Probably. Staffer?
Josh, I don't think he watched Durant highlights a lot. The kid has a 10-foot jumper. The kid has a drop step to your left and your right. Um, he could actually take you off the dribble, and all the other things that we've seen that Queen pulled up that he could do. So that brings a totally different dynamic than Mitch, right? So back to the original question. If I had to pick one, I'm rolling with Duran just because of that element right there. The jump shot in the 10 foot, the you could break it down and dribble, you could do the little drop stop over his shoulder. He's an excellent rebounder, but cause for concern, as TC said, the free throw shooting at 62%. So as time goes on, I do believe that could improve. But otherwise, as far as 3-point shooting with both of them, Williams was hitting them in his pro day. Pro day and playing in the game is two different things. So I would say probably Williams and Robinson is two similar players. I wouldn't put Durant in that category, but if I were to pick one, I will pick Durant.
But Stafford, the offensive skills that you're saying Duran has, were
Uh-huh.
those flashes? Like I don't remember that being like a staple part of his game in and game out. I mean, he's known mostly as a rim runner. Are you saying
I
him putting the
mean,
ball on the floor and the hooks over each shoulder is like a staple part of his game, or like flashes that you've
It,
seen?
it
no,
is.
it wasn't flashes. It's a staple of
It
his game.
it is. I've seen a couple of games this year, and I mean it's not perfected, but it's part of his arsenal. You know what I mean? It's not something that he just tries every now and again. It's what I mean. It's part of his go to and his regimen. So I will
Mhm.
agree with that. He's definitely can play back to the basket, old school center basketball.
So yeah, and staff. I mean, I agree with you. I do got to take a little bit more of a look at Duran, but I just from what I've seen, I don't think Mark Williams has that skill set. If Duren is able to do that even a little bit, I think that can do wonders for our offense. So again, I'm sticking with Duren if I had to pick one, between the two of them. But I just don't think that offensively they're, versatile enough for me to take them at 11, particularly if you got other guys sitting there on the board like some of those wings that we already spoke about. But I agree with you if that's the case.
Right. I mean, I think it's understood for most of us on the panel. If Mathurin is available, we would take them over any power forward center prospect.
For sure.
So yeah, so this is just an exercise, in terms of which bigs, do we like at the 11th pick. I like Duren as well, and I think he's going to be 18 this entire year. I think he's going to play most of this NBA season at 18. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So he'll have 2-3 years of development and still just be 21 years old or something or something like that. But yeah, I'm in agreement. I want a wing. Even though we have a glut of wings, like Josh said on Knicks and Bruises, you have an opportunity to get a stud and somebody that has a high ceiling and has the potential to pop and become a star. I think you have to go at it. I think you could talk about that from a center perspective, but when you look at our league, what's the chances that a center is going to be an all-star? We got two, not an all-star, like all NBA star type player. We got Embiid and we got Joker at that position. Correct me if I'm missing somebody. Those types of players don't come around as much, right?
When healthy, you're talking about AD as well, but still, the point is
AD,
still,
correct.
But it's still 3 out of whatever amount of centers that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
They're two-time in a generation player.
Right, exactly. And you can get a rim running big late in the first. To your point, Tony, in terms of trading down or in the second round trading back up into the late first round. All right. Anything else on those two before I get to the power forward position?
And I'll say this, I'm gonna actually change my stance. If we're absolutely picking at 11 and it's out of those two, I probably do go Duren. But if we're gonna, if we can move back and get Williams and acquire asset, I think that is just as valuable.
The only thing about that is how far, like if you're moving back 2 spots, what do you might get a second, a second round pick.
It might be a second round pick in this year's draft, and then we can grab a certain international player.
Well, I think Tone, I think the thing that's missing from this conversation is I think fit matters as well. Mark Williams, you may be able to get 2 assets, so to speak, but as far as the team fit, I mean, I think that says a lot. So, I mean, if I have an opportunity to get a guy who fits better with what I'm trying to do offensively or defensively, I'm not going to trade down a couple of spots to get someone who's maybe is equally as good but doesn't fit as much, just to acquire another asset. I think that's the part that the front office has to look at as well.
I mean, I would argue that Mark Williams fits better because he's more of the Mitchell Robertson type player, so they're accustomed to playing that style. Where Duren, that may be more of an adjustment. He may fit in the long run, but he's going to have to adjust as well as us, as well as the rest of the team. Where Mark Williams can kind of come in and fill the exact same role of who he is and what we're missing.
But that's the problem, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
you can argue that too.
That's the problem. That may be why they're not. If they don't re-sign Mitch, that may be the reason. So I'm not sure they're going to bring in somebody exactly like.
Well, with one caveat though is that free throw shooting. If Mitch was hitting 60-something% of his free throws or 70-something% of his free throws, he'd be a different player. It wouldn't be 8 points per game. It might.
It's not about the points. Everybody focus on the points with Mitch. It's not about the points. You're gonna get a point guard that's gonna unlock him. Okay, even if you get a point guard, he's gonna score more points, but that doesn't help our spacing. That's the issue with Mitch. A point guard doesn't help our spacing with Mitch. He's still
But
gonna be in the.
but free throw shooting hurt us from Mitch. That's what I'm saying.
Oh no, no, don't no.
This guy would change that aspect of
Oh,
you know what I
absolutely.
mean? It's like Mitch with 70% free throw shooting. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
Which
We
is a
need more
different
than that though.
what is a different I mean, if he's shooting 70% from the free throw line, I think he could put up a 10-footer, a 14-footer over time, if not immediately. So I don't think the shot.
But free throw shooting has nothing to do with 10 or 14. You can get fouled just going up for a dunk and shoot 72%. So the fact that he's shooting 70 something percent doesn't mean he's going to be taking 10 or 14 footers.
I'm saying it's more likely that he can do that. Whereas Mitch, that's one of the problems with Mitch is like, are you really want him putting up some type of jump shot when he can't even hit a free throw? What's the jump shot gonna look like? So that's my point. I think he could develop into a big man that's not just back to the basket, that can put the ball on the floor, that can hit a mid range. So I think that's potentially in his arsenal, and I'm basing that off of his high free throw percentage.
Tone, I hear what you're saying. I think you make a valid point, but the only thing I'll say is that it doesn't even have to be a jump shot per se. I'm talking about a jump hook, drop step, something along the lines where you can give him the ball and he can be able to at least go get a bucket some way, somehow. It doesn't have to be a jump shot per se.
Now in that aspect, I agree. Duran has that already.
Right.
There's no argument in.
So that's what I was saying, TC. Why would we go ahead and get somebody similar like Mitch? It wouldn't make no sense. The only difference with Williams is he's probably a better free thrower. You know, he makes more better free throw shots. So, to Queen's point, to me it wouldn't make no sense to get the same exact person like Mitch. You know, I mean, we need more versatile in that specific position.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Especially if we're bringing back RJ. Or well, RJ will be back, and if Randall is going to be back, they operate in the key, and they need space. And it would be great to see what that looks like if we had a stretch five. What would that look like? How would Randall's game? Would Randall's game look better? Would RJ's game look better? All right. Anyway, let's move on to power forward. Jeremy Soham. So these two guys, in my opinion, and we'll talk about Tari Eason as well, are limited offensively at this point. But in terms of defensively, they're really, really good. So Jeremy Soham, power forward out of Baylor. Some have him as a small forward as well. 6'9", 230 pounds, 19 years old. I forgot to ask if that makes a difference to the panel. 9.2 points, 4.4 rebounds, 1.8 assists, shot 47.4% from the field, only 29.6% from three, and his free throw shooting is 58.9%. And that's what gives me major pause about Sohan, but I'd like to hear what the panel has to say. Defensive versatility, can potentially guard 1 through 5, good on and off ball defender, good rebounder, high motor, 1 to 3 steals per game, good feel for the game, good, not elite athlete with good size and length. He's also a good passer, and his defensive IQ is good as well. In terms of improvement area, scoring, overall in 3-point shooting, free throw shooting, shown some self-creating flashes, but needs to do more of that, and ball handling. So basically, the entire offensive side of the ball, he needs to improve on. And then let's do Tari Eason, and then we can compare them. Power forward out of LSU, 6'8", 216 pounds, 21 years old. Does that make a difference? 2 years older. 16.9 points, 6.6 rebounds, 1 assist, 52% from the field, 35.9% from three, and 80.3% from the free throw line. High level on and off ball defender, can guard 1 through 4, and as Josh said, potentially 5. High motor, block shots, good ball handler, attacks the basket. He's a slasher in the half court. Good court vision as well. Excellent anticipation on defense, leading to steals. Athletic, good size, strength, and length. Improvement. His shot mechanics need to improve. He's also somewhat limited offensively, other than driving to the basket. So the mid range, the 3-point shooting, self creation has to improve. But this guy, if you've watched him play, he's just a dynamo. He's like just a ball of fire, basically, all over the place. But any thoughts on these two guys and how they would fit with the Knicks?
If I'm choosing between the two, I'm definitely choosing Eason. Um, I feel like Sohan will be a great player, or a real good player on a championship level team. But being that ain't us, um, I think his liabilities be they hurt us more than his strengths help us. Whereas at least with Eason, it's more two-way potential. You know what I mean? Like I think the mechanics may have to be fixed. Some guys end up still being who they are with not the most sound mechanics. I think he'll still be a scoring threat, a scoring option. And I mean, granted, we're talking maybe he can't guard 5 positions, but I think he'll definitely be able to guard 4, as opposed to Sohan with the 5, which is still questionable if he'll be able to. At his best he'll be able to guard 5, but I don't know if that's a guarantee. So out of the two, I'm definitely going Eason because he has more two-way potential.
I think out of both of these guys are I would consider like consolation prizes. So if our people are off the board, our two major guys are off the board, then you look at these guys, and because of their defensive potential, that's why I have them on my list, both of them. I would give the edge to Easton because of the shooting numbers, the shooting potential. I understand that the shooting stroke it may not be as fluid as we would like, but again, he's not taking a lot of 3-pointers per game. He's not shooting the ball a lot during the game. We only need him come in and knock down a few shots per game. He's going to be on the floor, him and Sohan, for their defense and what they do as rotation guys to be able to potentially back up either the 5 or the 4, and potentially more. So I think that's who these guys are. Just looking at them the way they are, I think they can come in and contribute right away because of the defensive prowess. But if I had to give the extra one, I'm going to give it to Easton because of he's a little bit better offensively, not by much, but I think there's a little bit more there. And not to mention Sohan, he can pass the ball. He has really, really good passing ability. And I think if the Knicks are able to develop him in the post a little bit, I think that could be a major help for our offense. Throw the ball down to him and have him basically be the middleman in the triangle. Get someone slashing RJ, Grimes, whoever else we get. So I think that potential is there as well.
Yeah. Stafford?
Boy, listen. We take any one of these two. I feel sorry for the Obi fans. I really, 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 really do. Because this boy is very stiff and can't move his hips. And if Eason and what was the young man named? Sohan?
Mm-hmm.
Comes in and they could guard from 1 through 5 and 1 through 4 and making the right IQ on defense and all of that. I don't know. Obi might be on the chopping block. But if I do had to pick, I'm gonna roll with Eason. Just like TC said, the two-way numbers, he could score, he could defend 1 through 4. He's a pest on the ball. Yeah, man. But if you were to, it'll be very sticky on Obi, man. I feel like it will be a lot of pressure on Obi to come in and play good defense just because of these two guys and their defensive skills.
Yeah, and I think someone said in the chat, they may be able to play 3. I know they can definitely defend the 3, right? So they, you may be able to put them, at 3, and so now it's the competition with Cam Reddish, right? And others. I think it's close for me. I think it's really close. Sohan, because of the way he shoots and his fluid motion, you just think that, it's not a huge step for him to become, adequate, 3-point shooter. But that being said, he only shot 30%, and Eason shot, what was that, 37,
36 or 37,
30,
yeah.
36 or 37%. This one is close. This one is so close. I think whichever one, if the Wings are off the board and the Knicks went with either one of them, I'd be happy. I think they would get rotation minutes under Tibbs.
No question. No question.
I think they would get rotation minutes under Tibbs. So I'm not sure who would be out. Would that be Cam? Would that be Obi? Or out or minutes reduced? I mean, he's not playing more than 10.
That's how I feel with the whole Obi. You know what I mean? Because he's not a good defensive athlete. He doesn't move his hips that much, that good. And very low IQ on the defensive end. So to your point, Queen, they they come in and they get rotational minutes. Somebody's is on the bench or somebody may get traded, but I don't know because Obi is Rose pick. I don't know, but it's a business as Josh always said. It's a business, so anybody could go.
And whoever they draft is gonna be Rose pick too. So
Right.
right.
That's true. What do you guys think about this? Sohan and Eason are more threat to Cam Reddish, to be honest.
Wow.
I would think so. I mean, listen, Cam Reddish hasn't been healthy. He just hasn't been healthy. And when he was healthy, he really didn't play that well, to be honest with you. I'm sorry to all the Cam Reddish and RJ and Zion Duke Connection fans that are out there, but I mean, it's the honest truth. I think Cam Reddish might be, to me, I think he's probably one of the outside of the veterans and the Kembas and the Burks and all those. I think Cam Reddish might be on the trading block, to be honest with you. I think he has a lot of interest from teams. I think the Knicks took a chance on him. He's due to get paid at the end of the season. Right. Same as RJ. And I just think the Knicks can really move him and try to get some other assets or pieces back. So I think, I totally agree with that.
I think it lights a fire under Cam.
Well, we're going to need to see it this year, Tony. If you're going to say that, we're going to need to see it. Because if there ain't no fire, ain't no money. So we're going to see.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, both of these guys can play 3 or 4. Cam and or Obi, can potentially, see less minutes when these guys come in. And the thing about it is they're high motor guys. So these are guys that from the time they get on the court, if they play in 5 minutes, 7 minutes, you're gonna see the difference in how they play. And these are Tibbs type of guys, quite frankly. And it changes things for us. Have somebody that can switch 1 through 3, 1 through 4. It changes everything for us.
Very important.
It does. When you think about, Boston, that's what makes Boston so tough. 1, 2, and 3 switchable between Smart, Brown, and Tatum. Switchable.
Miami.
Those guys are switchable, right? So if you have guys like that, and if their offense comes along, it does. It changes everything.
Yeah, the offense come along. That's a bonus for us, Queen.
Yeah.
And when you talk about Boston, you got to add Williams in that switchable.
Grant Williams, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Wow. Anything else about the power forwards before I move into later now in the first round?
Yeah, Queen, I just want to say again, Sohan and Eason will probably be like constellations because, I'm a big Johnny Davis guy. I think Mathurin is a little bit ahead on my board. But there's potential for those guys to be gone. I think if those guys are gone, I think Duran might be gone. So to me, those are my constellations, and that's what I'm looking at 11. And let's say, just for the sake of what the Knicks have going on as far as their rotation is concerned, let's say these guys don't make the rotation this upcoming season. I wouldn't mind stuffing them out in the G League, having them grow a little bit, and working with what we got, seeing what Cam can potentially give us, and see if Obi can be able to develop something more. Maybe the Randall thing works itself out or does not work itself out, and then he can get traded, and then you got some guys down in the minor league that can be able to come up and contribute right away. So I think all those options are also on the table. And just because they're drafted 11th does not mean they have to play right away, even though I think they could.
You like both those guys better than Malachi?
Yes.
You too, Queen?
That's a I would say slightly, because Branham he's a good shooter. He's not a speedster, he's not an athletic guy, but he can still get to his spots. He's a little bit more of what we already have. Sohan and Eason, we don't have anything like that on this roster.
No.
We don't have anything like this. And you can argue, and let me put this to you guys, you can argue to take Sohan or Eason over a center.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm arguing. Yeah, that's why I have them higher on my board than Duren and Williams.
That's what Josh has been saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not mad if the Knicks do it. I don't know if that would be my choice, but I ain't mad if they do it.
They change everything. Duren, what's the most Duren is going to be? Like, if you could think of another player in this league.
Bam.
Adebayo. Bam.
Drummond, maybe.
That's the comp I've seen. Drummond,
yeah, and I haven't seen Duren play that much.
That's the
but
comp
looking at
I've
his stuff,
seen.
Drummond, you know what I mean? And Drummond was damn good in his prime. Knicks fans, I don't want Drummond, you know what I'm saying? But he was damn good in his prime, but I think he has that type of potential. And if he turns out to be that kind of player, then, we're talking about something now. But again, it's hard for me to envision us getting another center that's going to clog the paint up. So we'll see.
I'll say a Dwight Howard, but with a better, more offensive game. Both of them got that same slender body, that build. That power to me. So I would say a Dwight Howard, but with a more offensive game.
You think Duren has a good of
Wow.
a post
Then
game?
you would
as
take
Dwight?
them over Eason. If that's then I'm taking him over Eason and Sohan. If we're talking about the Dwight Howard with offense.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
He
talk
would be
about
the number one pick.
if you talk about ceiling, but I also taking the fact that he's 18 years old, so I expect massive improvements over the next couple of years.
Yep.
Somebody
and
said
he could definitely be a beast.
Kevin
Willis. Come on,
Willis
man.
was a player.
Yeah, he had short arms though, but he was all right.
45-year-old Kevin Willis.
I mean, he was an Iron Man. I liked him, but nah. Nah.
And his mid range was deadly.
Yeah, but you can't disrespect the man like that. Come on.
Right. That's a top 3 pick. No doubt. And listen, somebody in this draft class is going to outplay their draft position. By that much, though, exactly. It happens. It happens every year.
A la Josh Giddey.
Right. I remember when we was at the draft party, he went 10. I was like, 10? Giddey went 10? Nobody's arguing that now. Right. All right. So these next 2, you guys may or may not be familiar with. These are late first round picks. And that would be Walter Kessler, center out of Auburn, 7'1", 256 pounds, 20 years old, 11.4 points, 8 rebounds, 4.6 blocks per game. That is not a typo. 60.8% from the field, 20% from 3, which means he takes them. He's not shooting them, but he takes them. Again, 60% from the free throw line, and mid to late, I would say late first round. Strength, he's an elite shot blocker, mobile for his size, can defend in the pick and roll some, great finisher around the rim. He's also a lob threat, soft touch, has a floater, hook, good rebounder. He needs to improve his 3-point shooting, where he holds the ball. He needs to get better with that. bites on pump fakes, so he stays in foul trouble because he goes after everything. Playmaking out the post, guarding perimeter players on switches. What I will say though is I've seen tape where he did well on switches guarding in the perimeter, and I've seen tape where he was awful guarding out on the perimeter. But that potential is there. And the next one would be Christian Coloco, the center out of Arizona, 7 feet, 221 pounds. He's 22 years old. 12.6 points, 7.3 rebounds, good shot blocker, 2.8, 63.6% from the field, doesn't shoot threes, 73.5% free throw, late first, second round pick. He has a defensive presence, rim protection, a lob threat, attacks the offensive glass, good athlete with length, good motor, playmaking flashers, post scoring upside. I meant to say post scoring possibility or upside. He's raw offensively. He needs to improve his shooting. He needs to decrease his turnovers. He needs to get better with his decision making and his awareness. His overall offensive game needs to improve. So, you guys anybody familiar with any of them?
Yeah, I'm familiar with Coloco. That is Matherin's running mate.
Right.
Both of them was carrying the team when it was in the tournament. I like Coloco.
Mhm.
But he reminds me a lot of the center that we have. The same rim running, rebound, offense, defense. The only difference is with him is that he has a little post up, but nothing too. It got to be like very underneath the basket where he gets in it right to his spot for him to go up with the ball. You know what I mean? And he's a very good offensive rebounder. But I probably will pass on him on the second round just because we got Sims there, man. He needs to get some more reps to improve. So yeah, I will pass on both of them.
Even in the well, Kessler is a first round pick.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he goes to the second round, that's a steal.
Right.
That's a steal.
Yeah. He's a mobile guy. Are you familiar with any of them, Tony?
I'm familiar with Kessler more, and like I said, I thought you were saying second round. If he in the second round, that's a steal.
No, the Knicks. This would be late first round. So if the Knicks
moved up, okay,
moved down, or
yeah.
moved up from the from
Okay.
the second round. But I have to be honest, as far as the center position is concerned, this is where if I'm the Knicks, did you really want a center? This is where I'm drafting. I'm trading down, to late first, or with the second pick, I'm trading up back into the first and to grab one of them, as opposed to picking a center with the 11th pick.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Queen. I mean, I haven't seen much of Kessler. Coloco, I've seen a little bit of flashes. Obviously, plays
hit his free throws.
Yeah.
But here's what I will say about Kessler, and I don't want to be stereotypical, but he looks like barbecue chicken. Lie to you. He just looks like barbecue chicken. And reading the description, I'm just reading the fact that he can't defend out on the perimeter. I can just see like a guard just taking him out there and like just making him dance a little bit. So listen. I mean, by looking at
he's not slow though. He's a mobile, fluid, big. He is. Yeah. If you watch him run up the court, I'm like, wow, like he's pretty mobile.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do my research on him, Queen, but I think based on the bios that I just seen that you just put up on the screen, I think the answer's got to be Coloco. Obviously, he won't be someone that's going to be starting for us. Neither of these guys are going to be starting, but in the backup role, I can see that person being there. And this is if Jericho Sims gets the chance to start and be the full-term starter, you can put a guy like Coloco in there, but it's more of the same kind of prototype. But I would take Coloco over Kessler based on what I see.
But what I like about Kessler,
you crazy.
Yeah, Kessler's ranked higher. Yeah. Okay. Kessler's ranked higher. What I like about Kessler though is the potential to be a stretch five. I mean, he took 53-point shots. Okay, he only made like 20 of them or something of that sort, or 10 of them. But he has the potential to be a stretch five. And another thing I like about him is that when he does get beat, he can use his length to try to make up the play. But he does get faked out and he does get in foul trouble because he can be undisciplined at time. But Kessler, at least now, is a little ahead of Koloko, but over time, who knows? Josh, you
What
might be right. Koloko may wind up being the better player.
what's the three centers that play in the NBA? One of them used to play for us. I think one plays for Charlotte.
Plumlee?
The Plumleys. That's who Kessler reminds me of. He reminds me of if he was the fourth brother, he would probably be the second best one.
Tone, like I said, barbecue chicken. They didn't turn out to be that good.
I mean,
in the NBA.
they're adequate. They're all adequate big men in
Yeah.
the league, you know. And the
And
better of the three is pretty good.
he's starting. Like, I don't know if Plumlee is barbecue chicken in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Oh no, he is trash. He is trash. I talk to Charlotte fans all the time for the games that I watch. He is not. I mean, he's all right, but he's they need an upgrade. You put it
Yeah, well, they definitely do need an upgrade. And they got 2 shots at it at the 13th and 15th.
Yeah, they're
pick.
getting a big.
Yeah, they're gonna get one of them. Stafford, you wanted to say something?
I mean, oh boy, this is hard for me because y'all saying now is that y'all would trade back if y'all don't get the wings and get the center that y'all want in that position, right? Am I right, Queen? Did you say that?
I'm not saying
I
that.
would if I would take Tyree, I would take Eason or Sohan. One of those are going to be there. If all the wings are gone, I'm pretty confident either Tyree Eason or Sohan will be available. I would take one of them. What I would do if I was the Knicks at the 42nd pick, if one of these start to drop and they're still there, I would trade back into the late first. If I really want a center, trade back into the late first and get one, as opposed to trading all the way down and getting one.
So let me ask you this: you don't believe in Sims, or let's say we get a healthy Noel back, or even if we sign Mitch and he comes, you don't have no
Well, if we
faith
sign
in any of these guys?
if we sign Mitch, then we don't need to. If we re-sign Mitch, then we don't need to look at the center position. You can argue that we don't need to look at the center position at all. As far as Sims is concerned, I think you always look for an upgrade because if we re-sign Mitch, Sims is the same player. I think if we re-sign Mitch, then definitely for our backup center, they need to be able to shoot. Like, we can't have 2 players that's the same.
It's been
right?
that way for the last 2 years, and that's why our offense has been trash.
So if we're gonna re-sign Mitch, then I want Kessler as a backup. I want somebody that can potentially shoot.
But Queen, we just saying that if Eason or Sohan is flexible from 1 through 5, basically they could shoot the 3. So wouldn't that be also stretching the floor also too?
I don't think their offense, yeah, right. Their defensive versatility. I don't think their offense is there just yet to stretch the floor.
Okay.
So Stafford, I guess what we're saying is Mitch and Sims are not versatile offensively or defensively, but you got a guy like Eason and Sohan, both versatile defensively. Offensively, still going to need some work, but I think with the defensive versatility, you take the chance and you hope that one of them could at least, knock some shots down, probably a couple, shots per game or something like that, which can do wonders for the offense in a rotation kind of role, not in the starting lineup.
Okay.
Yeah. Tony, you had something? Okay.
No, I'm good with them.
Yeah, that's that's me as far as the center position is concerned. But the thing about it is, if we don't re-sign Mitch, where are we getting a center? Because if you're not drafting one at 11, where are you getting a center? The Knicks are going to be in a tough spot.
I don't think so, Queen. I don't think the Knicks are going to be as tough of a spot that people, think they're going to be in. Now, I think they kind of planned for this, and that was the reason why they signed Noel. I know everyone's going to be like, oh, Nerlens Noel, we got to get him out of town. He's been hurt, this, and that. But I think that was the reason why they brought Noel in here, to be someone just in case in a situation that Mitchell Robinson leaves, that you can depend on Noel to be a starter. right? And then with the emergence of Jericho Sims, I think the Knicks could potentially be just fine, as long as we can be able to, find another guy, another center, and it doesn't have to be someone that. I mean, obviously, you would like to have a guy that can, come in and play right away, but it doesn't even have to be someone that you're going to throw out there for 20 minutes a game. It can just be someone to be in there in lieu of either Noel going down or foul trouble or one of those things. So I don't think the Knicks are going to be that bad of a spot if Mitchell Robinson decides he wants to leave.
So you okay with Noel?
Well,
I mean, he'll be a quality. He'll be a quality.
I will say
bigger.
I'm okay with a healthy Noel. The thing about it is,
of course, Queen.
Backup. You know what I mean? I'll rather him as a healthy backup.
Well,
I agree. I agree with David. With Mo, I go after Mo Bamba. I wouldn't mind looking at oh man, the Shaq and the Full Star. I can't remember his name now. JaVale McGee. You know what I mean? I take him, take a flyer on him. So I don't think it's a end or be all. I just don't want us to lose Mitch for nothing.
Well, I mean, I think that's going to happen anyway. And actually, I don't know if you've seen it on my show. I kind of predicted this 2 years ago, but that's a different story. But anyway, listen, I think, yes, of course, you want to have a healthy Nerlens Noel out there. And I think if he's healthy, I think he's more than capable of being a starter in the NBA. To me personally, I think he has a little bit of more of an offensive repertoire than Mitch. Not much, but he does have one. And I think the offense could potentially perform better with him out there on the floor than Mitch, in my opinion. That's just my personal opinion. But obviously, health is a concern. But even if he is healthy, and Mitch decides to leave, or he's not healthy or whatever, just bring in another center just to play a backup role. No more than 15 minutes a game. You get Sims out there, get him some minutes, and then you can work your rotations where you can kind of go small ball at times, which I think the Knicks should do anyway. Not maybe all the time, but certain situations I believe they should. I think the Knicks will be fine. So I'm not worried about losing Mitch as much as others. I know Tone is very, very concerned. That's why he has that look on his face. But but I think the Knicks will be okay from the center spot. It doesn't have to be anybody that's gonna wow you or anything like that. Just get a body in there to play some center minutes.
Josh, no. We gotta. They gotta be able to rebound, and they gotta be able to block a shot or two. That's gonna help our That's gonna help our defense. But I agree with you. People forget when we made that run to the playoffs.
Nerlens
Noel was our starting center. Okay, so I'm not sleeping on him. My issue with him is just health. But if he's healthy, he can start. He can start for the Knicks.
Well, Queen, again, I'm just saying not someone to start. Like, let's say Noel's going to go into the season as a starter. You got Jericho Sims as the backup. This is all if Mitch leaves.
Right.
I'm just talking about adding a third center in there. Not anybody that's going to get major. No, not a starter or a major rotation guy. He'll be that if Noel goes down or foul trouble or something like that. But I just think, at this point, the Knicks are fine at the center position if we lose Mitch, in my opinion.
But this is what I'll say. That third stringer have to be somebody that can play. It can't just be
a scrub.
Right. Because think about what happened with Rose and Kimba. We didn't even have a third stringer. When you have an injury history like that, that third stringer has to be somebody that can give you some meaningful minutes in case Noel goes down. Yeah.
All right, Queen, I got to go, but it was nice
to
be on. I really appreciate that. Thank y'all so much. Tony, Staffer.
Check out Kessler.
Yes, I will check out Kessler and Koloko, and I'll definitely get back to you on my thoughts on both of them.
All right.
Take care, y'all. Good night.
Be safe, man. Have a good one, Fulio.
All right. So the last person we had up in the second round, and I wish I had more second rounders. So those in the chat, throw out some second round names for me to take a look at. This is Tony's. I like him too, but we have a few differences. All right. So second rounders, those give me some more. What happened to him? Oh, he left too? Okay.
He might be back. I thought maybe you hit him, you kicked him out by mistake. But
maybe I did. So Kai Soto is all the rage right now. I haven't seen him in any of the mock drafts. But again, the mock drafts could be late. If you haven't checked out already, on Dope Soul Sports Talk, I did a video on Kai Soto and how I think he may fit with the Knicks. He's a center from the Adelaide 36ers out of the NBL, which is the same league in Australia that LaMelo Ball played in. 7'2", 240 pounds, 20 years old, 7.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, only zero point 0.8 blocks. I would want a little more from a 7'2" guy. 50% from the field. What I really like is 38% from three, which is better than the league average in the NBA for all players and centers. 69% from the free throw line. He's also a lob threat, 3-point shooting, can put the ball on the floor, has a decent post game, very soft touch, solid rebounder, good athlete, good length. Improvement areas, he has to get better at using his length to make up for lateral movement
Mhm.
defensively. He may not be able to stay with quicker guards. That's fine. He has the length to recover. He needs to add some strength, but 240 pounds is not
Ex-
skinny by any
Exactly.
stretch.
That's more than Wade coming into the league.
Right. Um, get more aggressive on offense. A lot of times, he just allows it to come to him, but that could just be his role on the team, as a first year young player. And he needs to improve his pick and roll defense. Now, he's mocked to pretty much go undrafted, but
Wow.
I believe that the mock drafts are a bit behind the draft boards because you can't tell me that he's not on NBA teams. I know he's on their radar, but he can actually also be on their on their draft boards as well. So I think the mock drafts are just a bit behind. But any thoughts on him in the chat? Anybody else in the second round who you're looking at or that I should take a look
Me,
at?
I when it comes to Ben, like um, I'm pretty nervous. I'm pretty nervous. It gives me Lopez, give me Porzingis. It gives me just the whole knee thing, because they're so fragile, So and I don't know too much on him. I got to do my research on him, but so far it looks like he's a lob threat. He could shoot the three, put the ball on the floor, um,
Yeah.
rebounder. So I guess he could make the cut. I wouldn't agree like what you said, Queen. Go undrafted. I think somebody got him on their board and will take a chance. But for me, man, oh boy, it's just the tallness, man. The same
But
thing with the kid out of Gonzaga. I'm scared for him too. You
yeah,
want to
but
talk about
he
barbecue?
this
Talk about barbecue chicken? That's like a thin piece of turkey right there. So
he's
I
But
more
don't
Chet
know.
fluid.
Holger, Chet
He
Holgram is 195. He's 240.
I was just about to say that he's more fluid than those guys. More fluid than Porzingis coming into the league. Um, like you said, that's 198 to 240. He weighs more than Mitch did coming into the league. So I'm not too concerned with him being slender. The way he moves show me that he has guard like movements. Um Footwork, which if you didn't see Sims video, check out Sims video on his footwork. The one of his favorite players was Tim Duncan. One of the guys he emulates as far as the footwork is Elijah. I think there's just certain nuances about this kid. I think he can get some minutes now. I don't think he has to necessarily be like come in and be a starter, but I think he would get some minutes, and he could come back and forth, up and down with the G League. But he brings we talk about dynamic that we don't have at the position. He has that. You know what I mean? He talk about stretch the floor. He could do that. So if if he plays to his strengths and then grows, as time goes on, I think he'll be fine and a great pickup.
The only thing I would disagree, I agree with everything, except him getting rotation minutes. I just don't think he would get rotation minutes this year. I
Well,
think he's about a year away. I see him spending time in the G League.
I agree. Most of his time will be in the G League, but similar to like what Josh was saying, as the third guy, whether Mitch is here and it's Sims or Noel Sims, and then you know what I mean, him. But the fact that he brings a dynamic that we don't have, I think that'll give him at least opportunities to see the floor. It might be
Probably I need to see some more
might be
highlight
Tim,
and
might
watch
be
I
more of
don't
his
think he sees the
games.
floor. I don't think he sees the floor. Not with Tibbs. Not he need to be his defense is gonna have to be yeah. I don't see it. I
I
think
gotta watch him some more. I'm not sure with him. I gotta watch him some more.
right. I agree with building blocks. He'll spend a lot of time in the G League, and there's nothing wrong with that. To me, I see him as a stash player.
hmm
Let him develop. He's 7'2". His skill level is high. That touch around the basket. He got the ball in the post. He turned around, faced up.
spin move.
That one too. But this time he took a jab step and pulled up for a jumper. Like that's skills for somebody. The footwork that you need to have to be able to turn around, face up, do a jab step, and pull up for a baseline jumper at that. So I
Hold on,
like his
Queen.
skill level.
So Queen, he's doing all of that. You telling me you saw that in the game that he played?
Yeah, I did a video on it. It's on the video that I did on him. Um,
Oh, I
and
need
Sim
to go back and watch that.
and Sim did a breakdown video as well. And he shoots 38% from three. So
Okay.
when you close out on him,
Put it on the
he
floor.
could put the ball on the floor and take it into the key. Now, it's these are fair questions. Will this translate on an NBA level? Will he be able to do this on an NBA level? I mean, these are fair questions. Will he be overpowered on the NBA level? I don't think so. 240. This guy's not like super
How
thin.
much does the guy in Denver weigh? What's his
Joker.
name? Yeah,
250.
250. So you telling me they probably like the same size?
Um, mm, he just looks a little
he
more muscular than
Yeah, and Joker.
to
yeah,
me.
yeah. Jokic has probably like 10 to 15% body fat.
Okay.
Um,
I'm guesstimating.
Okay.
yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah.
And so like building block says, Soto's taller.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, he is. Let me see how much he.
But that's
Oh
the
no,
thing.
the joke is 284.
280 or even more.
Ooh.
I don't think he'll be a defensive liability, but I don't think he'll be a defensive stopper either. You know what I mean? But I don't think it'll be like, oh, he can't stay on the floor because of his defense.
Uh,
I've seen some defensive highlights of him too. Maybe I'll try to put together a video highlighting some of his defensive
right.
I,
attributes.
maybe I
Um,
need to go rewatch your show, Queen Sims, and then go make my own determination to watch some because I don't know, man. For some reason, and it's probably it's just me, but the whole 7 foot thing, man, I just see injuries, man.
I
I
don't think
just see
that's a
injuries.
concern. I don't see that with him though. Listen, anything is possible. But for J Rule at Queens Court, why not get a small forward in the second round? I have no problems getting a small forward in the second round. But this is an exercise in what would the Knicks we're going over the draft. We did a show already on wings. And so now we're doing a show on bigs,
Big
power
win.
forwards, and centers. But overall, I have no problems with the Knicks getting a small forward in the second round. I have no problem with the Knicks getting a point guard in the second round. I think whoever they get in the second round is fine. Um, is fine for me. And there's some people very high on him, think he's a future NBA superstar. But you know what I do wonder? He signed with G League Ignite, but he never played because of a commitment he had with the Philippine national team. I wonder
I'm
where his draft
Philippine
stock
too.
would be if he played with G League Ignite. I wonder. Now he went on a lot of recruiting visits, Auburn, Kentucky, a few other places. I wonder what his draft stock would be had he played in college in the United States. Yep. You muted, Tony.
No, I was saying that I think that's a fair point. As well as I mean, we've seen um oh man, the kid OKC drafted last year. I'm so bad with names today.
Puka,
No,
Poka,
no, the one from Giddy.
Kitty. Okay.
We seen Giddy's draft stock skyrocket, last year, right? So I think a lot of times, even in the Australian League, it's kind of been a little undervalued in the beginning, and then they kind of skyrocket as time goes on. And Giddy he had a little bit more exposure, you know what I mean, than this guy in particular. So I think you're right. I think it's lack of knowledge of him more than anything else, or lack of seeing him in the in the American leagues, whether it's college or the G League.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's it. But we've also seen guys skyrocket up draft boards, though. Right? We saw that last year. And it's not really happening. And teams are working them out. So we'll see. Maybe they're seeing something as well. Um, but yeah. All right. Anything else on the the power forward center position for the Knicks? Anything else on the NBA draft in general? And anything else on the New York Knicks in general?
Hmm. Um, I just can't wait for draft night, man, because that's gonna tell, you know, um, probably where that direction of the team may be going. Um, it all depends on what we do with the 11th pick. So it's gonna be interesting coming up draft night to see
Mm-hmm.
what this team will be doing. Because we doing, as we say, we doing so many exercises. You know,
Right. We're
we
doing a
can't.
lot of exercises. Now you
Yeah,
just ready just
yeah,
ready
we
for
yeah, we just ready for the exam and for the test and just get it over with. To see what we gonna do. But yeah, man, I'm just anxious.
yeah. I feel comfortable with a wing. If the Knicks pick a wing, I feel we're gonna get a good one. If they a power forward at Sohana Easton, we're gonna get a good one. Even if they go center with Doran or Williams, I'm okay. I just think the Knicks are gonna get a good pick regardless. Yes, Tom.
This who was it? Heck, somebody in the chat had mentioned Travion Williams,
Mm-hmm.
who and I was about to ask, are you familiar with him? I think he's the guy who played at Purdue, and then he did clarify it is the guy who played with Ivy. Are you familiar with him? The big?
Not too much.
Is he like a little thick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar. Yeah,
Um,
I've seen some
I
draft
I I
prospects.
like I like him as well. And that's honest, obviously from watching Purdue to check out Ivy and him standing out in a couple of games that I watched. He's another guy. I don't know where he's projected, but if he's a second round pick, he's another guy I would keep my eye out on.
Travion Williams.
Very versatile. Can pass the ball, could shoot the ball. He's probably not the most athletic guy, but he just knows how to ball. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I think if we got Soto, I think he would probably be a two-way. I don't know. This is interesting.
That's going to be a lot of big men,
because
yo.
they
Because
can go
if we
either
do that,
way. I'm sorry, guys.
no. I say if we do that, you might as well we just stash him down in the G League with the two-way contract.
Right, but the way the contract goes, they could go both ways because Mitch was a second-round draft pick and they signed him to a contract. Sims was a second-round draft pick and they signed him to a two-way.
Two-way,
right. So they could go either way.
And then ended up adjusting it.
Right.
So giving him the real deal.
So they could go either way. J-Roll, I think if you betting on his upside, you may want to give him a Mitch-like contract.
Yeah. I mean, even doing a two-way is not detrimental because you do a two-way contract, it's still he's secure in a sense that another team can't snatch him from you.
Right.
There's a time frame in which you have to make that decision and say, so you kind of give him the freedom to go prove himself and the option to play up with the big league, the G League and the main team. And then if he shows something, you could always change that contract from a two-way to a guaranteed.
Right. And JJ, I'm okay with Mark Williams or Duran if the wings are off the board. But if Mathurin is on the board, if Johnny Davis is on the board, even if AJ Griffin is on the board, who's been looking great in his workouts from what I understand. Well, with his injury history, AJ Griffin might give me a little pause if he's on the board.
I'm even surprised you even mentioned his name.
He would probably give me a little pause. But yeah, I'm okay with Duran and Mark Williams, and I don't think I would move up to get Daniels. I think there's so many other prospects at 11 that we're going to get a good one. I don't think we need to move up to get Daniels. I would move up for Ivy.
But let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. If Daniels is there at 11, are you taking him? And we need a point.
And he interviewed, if you didn't check out the show we did today on Nothing But Knicks, Daniels interviewed with the Knicks. I believe it was today.
Uh-huh.
And he said the Knicks like him at point guard. Because remember, there's a lot of draft analysts who see him as a shooting guard and that after a year or two, maybe he could switch over to the point guard. But he said from his interview with the Knicks that the Knicks like him as a point guard.
Mm-hmm.
As do I.
I said it last week. That would be my 11 pick if I had to pick at 11 and he was still on that board.
And over Mathurin and Johnny Davis.
Well, all the wings are gone.
All the wings. Oh yeah.
All the wings are gone. So if he's there, I'm taking him. Definitely. Even if Duran or Williams is there, I'm still taking Daniels.
Dyson Daniel.
Dyson Daniels.
Yeah. No. J-Rue asked which was Daniels. Yeah, Dyson Daniel. Anything else about the draft overall? We got 2 more weeks.
No, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. For those who may not know, let me just play this real quick.
The second annual NBK draft party in Atlantic City. There'll be a live podcast, live DJ, live video shoot. $40 for a VIP ticket, $30 for draft night only. Get your tickets now.
Yep. I will be there. Any last words?
Just appreciate you, Queen. Stafford, it's always a pleasure. Shout out to the chat. And Yo Black is time. See y'all Wednesday.
Likewise, Tony, is always a pleasure. Queen, you already know what it is. Always a blessing to be on the
Appreciate you.
show. Shout out to the chat. Knicks 100, big up yourself. Yeah, but yeah, man, it's always a pleasure. Love chopping it up. Tomorrow's probably even going to be more fire. So can't wait.
Yes, definitely. Tomorrow on Dope Soul Sports Talk, I go live every Tuesday, 9 p.m. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Hit that notification button so you'll know when I go live or drop a video. And if you haven't subscribed, well, first of all, let me just take it back and congrats to Simeon Russell for hitting 20,000 subscribers. Doing your thing. I appreciate you. Appreciate the opportunity. Forever grateful. And again, congrats.
Shout out to the general.
Yes. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, Nothing But Knicks, please do so. And again, hit that notification button. And we are out of here.
Yes.